BODYCAM, it's a new take on FPSs, and I gotta say this game is pretty good. Not only the graphics are like pretty much insane, but the gunplay is actually extremely well done. So today I'm gonna be talking the good and the bad about BODYCAM and if it's any worth your money. So one of the issues is definitely trying to find a game sometimes can feel more of a hassle, because sometimes even if you go on quick play, you still have to wait for the lobby to ready up. And so if the lobby doesn't ready up in like 10 minutes, you leave and you try to find a new server, and then it says there's no good games on quick play, so you should actually server browser. And then you see the server browser and it's like, you know, you can't find me these games by yourself. So you end up just basically going through the server browser, which isn't like hard to navigate anything. You have how many players are in the server at the moment, the name of the host, and what map you're playing. Honestly, I think server browser is definitely the way to go if you're trying to look for a game like really quickly. Because you either end up in a lobby, but if you hear people talking, it's a good sign that you're definitely, you know, everyone's there. Or sometimes you can actually join games that are already in progress, so you just go straight into the action. So I would recommend, if you do have this game, I wouldn't actually recommend using quick play unless you've had better experience for me, but server browser is just the way. So one of my biggest issues with the game right now is performance, and I know the minimum requirements are already like, not crazy, but they're pretty high for a game where it's like you need a 2060 to just be able to play the game. I'm running a 7800 X3D with a 4070, and on some maps I'm getting below 60 FPS, and on some maps I'm barely just hitting 60 FPS stable. Like my FPS would hang around between 65-70, which is pretty good. But after turning the graphic qualities to medium and then putting the upscaling FSR to quality, I only gained about 10 to 20 FPS, where I was seeing 90, but it's really rare. It was more sitting around 85. And for this type of game, I kind of understand it, because you don't want the graphics to be really bad, because you do need to see what you're looking at before you shoot. Because if you shoot, because there is friendly fire in this game, so if you shoot teammates and stuff, people are going to be really pissed off at you. So understand that the lower qualities are not helping too much, because they're still trying to keep the best visual fidelity you can have. So if I'm running like the best CPU in the world right now with a mid-range GPU and I'm still struggling to hit 60, then the optimization definitely needs to be a strong suit for these guys. Because my problem with this game is as well is that because the performance and like the spec requirements are a lot more higher than normal, it would mean less people can actually not even play the game, so they can't, even if they wanted to play the game, they can't even buy the game because it won't even be able to run on their PC. Like, this game might turn into the new Crysis 3 where it's like, can you actually run it? But it's nothing bad as like Alan Wake 2, where literally my PC can't even get 60 FPS in that game without at least putting some type of upscaling. And then the last thing I do want to talk about is the team deathmatch taking too long sometimes. Team deathmatch isn't actually team deathmatch, it's essentially search and destroy but without a bomb. So it's like so no one respawns and it goes by rounds, and it's first 10 round wins the game. I'm actually what that is, especially on the bigger maps. I'm in my own personal experience, it took me 20 minutes to finish one round of team deathmatch. 20 minutes. And it was because it was essentially a 1v1, one guy on my team and one guy in the enemy team, and these two were basically just crouching completely in the dark with no flashlights on because they were scared shitless of each other. And I get it from that realism aspect, it does make the game feel a lot more intense. Maybe it's because my brain has been melted by Call of Duty, but I did like the tension. Like during the 5 to 10 minutes I was actually like, holy shit, this is so intense. But after when it started hitting 20 minutes I was like, okay, this is getting a little too long. So I think it's fine if it's a 1v1 standing and it's like a 5 minutes 10 minutes until they actually kill each other. But when it's like 20 minutes, that's when it gets really long. But that's literally the only bad things I generally have to say about the game. What do I think about the good things? The gunplay is insane. I can't express how good it feels to not play a game where it's just basically Call of Duty point and click simulator, where not only do I have to worry about my aim, but I also have to worry about how my body is moving. Because when you're running with your gun, take this for example, there was a situation where I was running, I was running around the house, on the house map, and there was a guy doing the same thing, he was running. And then I saw him first, but in my Call of Duty instinct, I actually shot, and because my barrels is looking straight down because I'm coming out the sprint animation, I actually ended up shooting the floor. And then the guy, he took a little more time, noticed me, so he pretty much like aimed in, took his his time and then shot me straight in the face. And I do love these type of games where it's like kind of like almost similar to Siege, where it's like before you go around a corner you want to pre-aim and make sure your gun is ready before you start moving in. You can even like shoot around corners. You can even blind fire and shoot around corners if you just hit fire your gun and try to aim it towards more where you're trying to shoot, and it's actually really hard to aim, so it does feel like you actually are blind firing. And that's what I really love about the gunplay. Everything just feels right. Like your character feels heavy, you can hear the wind whistling in your body cam, you can hear the character heavy breathing, the guns are loud as fuck. Like it generally makes you feel like you're in a war zone and you're like with your actual teammates or brigade, and you're actually fighting like terrorists or the military or whatever team you're on. And that's when we come into the graphics, because the graphics are amazing. I gotta say, this is probably the most realistic looking game ever made. It's not even like it's like a 10 out of 10 like graphic wise, where it's like you can see literally each hair follicle coming out of a character. It's more of, it feels believable. Like if I saw footage of BODYCAM with like a live link slapped to the top, I actually would think it's real footage. That's how like well made this game generally is when it comes to the graphics department. The fact 2 people made this game is pretty insane as well. Like indie developers have been going crazy in the past few years. But what I think makes this game even more perfect as well is not just the gunplay or the graphics or even the environment, because actually we should talk about the environment first. The environments are amazing, the maps are amazing. Even if some of the maps are small, like the house map, it feels extremely intense. You can literally feel the tension in the air and cut it with a knife, because somebody in the same house is there with you, and they're probably like crouch walking or they're walking around really slowly, and you don't even know if they're going to be right around the next corner or if they're actually upstairs looking downstairs. So it's like you don't know if you should clear that room first or if you should clear the upstairs then go into that room. Like there's so much tension. It's like, it reminds me of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, and it was exactly the same tension I felt with Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 was much more worse, but just knowing that 1-2 shots I could just be dead and the person's like literally in the same house as me literally fucking terrifies me. Coming from the future here, while editing, I actually forgot to mention about the flashlight mechanic and how some of the maps go from day to night. And I gotta say, this is like the most intense part, because with the flashlights they're extremely bright, so you actually can't see your reticle properly when you use the flashlight. But if you don't use the flashlight during the really dark areas, you might not actually be able to see who's sneaking up on you or if somebody's actually in front of you. But when you turn on the flashlight, it's basically just a big white light of saying, yeah, I'm here, what are you gonna do about it? It makes like this intense strategic moment of like, I have to, if I'm moving around, I'm gonna switch off my flashlight so they don't know where I am. But if I see a flashlight, then I'm turning my flashlight off and I'm gonna wait for the guy to either push me or try sneak up on him. It creates a really great dynamic between just normal shooting to actually using your brain with a flashlight. So with the gunplay, graphics, environment, and the tension, it just makes like such a perfect game. Like this is probably the most realistic shooter right now. So in my personal opinion, what do I think of the game? I think it's like, out of 10 it would be a 9, like generally a solid 9. I know it's early access, so I am giving it a bit more leeway, but just from the gunplay, graphics, the environment, the tensions, the good things I talked about, it literally makes this game genuinely worth its price. The only thing I'm praying for is that they do add more maps, more guns, more variety of game modes, and that's really it. It will literally be such an extremely solid game, and it's not even at full price of a game. It's $26.55, so it's almost half price of a normal full price game. So definitely that is a W from the developers. I would recommend this game 100%, but if it's not your style and you don't like the slow, methodical way of playing, then I can understand it if you dislike the game. But overall, if you want a new take on FPSs with the BODYCAM perspective, this game is the way to go. Thank you guys for watching, and peace out.